Today I'm going to go over part 2 of my 4-part content from scratch system, which looks something like this. It has 8 automations, and part number 1, which I have already done, and I hope you have watched it and you have created your first automation, which based on your business, audience, and offer is doing some research and coming up with topics and then dropping them into an Airtable here. Today we're going to go over part 2. Then in the next video, we're going to go over part 3, which is 5 automations. Most of them are the same. One is a little bit different. And then part 4 is all about sending all the content to our Airtable calendar and auto posting to social media. Okay, now if you want all these blueprints ready to go, plus everything else that I create, and as you can see, my classroom is full of GPTs, make automations, and agents. Sorry, hard to say it that fast. Make sure that you come and join my new AI Business Builders community. The link will be just under the video here. Okay, now back to our automation. Now, as I said, when you run your first automation, which is to come up with topics, your Airtable database will be full of lots and lots and lots of topics. However, you don't really want to give AI full autonomy. Why is that? Because some of these topics may not be relevant to you or your business. Some of these topics you may have done like a million times before that. So you do want to have some human intervention before you continue with creating content. That's why I have a condition here that I'm just going to open it. That is review, ready, and done. So as soon as a topic comes in, the condition will be set as review. That means that a human has to go through and basically delete the topics they don't like. And once you're happy with a topic, you just change it to ready. That way, I can just go through all these topics in like 5, 10, 15 minutes and put everything at ready, delete everything that I don't want, and then I can just sit every single week and decide on which topics I want to run, because you may not want to run all of them at once. So that's why we have this button in here that is linked to the webhook, which will start this content production automation. So here's how it works. You're going to start with a webhook. You're going to grab the address from the webhook. You're going to come to your Airtable Airtable table, and you're going to put a formula. Make sure that you've got a button here, that your field is a button. Let me just get out of it. So you're going to open quotation marks. You're going to put your webhook, then a question mark, then with small letters, record underscore ID equals. Then you're going to close your quotation marks. Then you're going to put end and record underscore with capital letters followed by parentheses. And basically this is it. And now every time you click on start, your button will send this record into this automation. Then what happens is we're going to add an Airtable module to get this record. So we want to get the information from this record, and it's super easy to map it. Basically, you have to choose your base, your table, and the only thing you're mapping is the record ID from the webhook. Super, super easy. Now that we have this record ID, we want to get Perplexity to do some more research on this specific topic. And basically what I've said is you are a helpful research assistant. So we have the system role first, gathering information for specific topics. Super simple. Of course, all of these prompts can be fine-tuned for you by you to suit whatever your requirements are. And the prompt for the user is do a thorough research on this topic and we are going to map out the topic from the Airtable records and return all interesting, unique, and viral information you can find. Now, we can even be a lot more specific and say you can return all interesting, unique, and viral information from the past month. Now, if we want to be uh, like up to date with everything, we can put something like this. You can find the result. The result has to be very detailed, incorporate data. I don't know why it's doing this. Incorporate data or statistic to support claims when possible, and cite the resource. Remove all markdown language and symbols from the result. And we're going to save this. And then once we get all the information from Perplexity, we're going to run it in a second. We're going to add another Airtable module, which is update record. And this time, of course, we have to get the record ID from here. We are going to just put all the research in the Airtable. Now, one thing that is optional is to actually put this research in your Airtable. I just like to have it just in case. Maybe I want to do something with it at a later stage. If you don't want to add it, you don't have to. But what we're doing with this module as well is changing the condition to done. So we're letting the human know that this topic has been processed, and we're going to run it now. I'm just going to unlink it from the rest of the automation. We're going to run this now, and you're going to see how it's changing. I'm going to click on run once. Now it's waiting. And let's go with this number 7, launching a freelance business with AI tools, a step-by-step plan. Okay, it's ready. So I'm basically going to click on start. A new window will open and will say accepted, and basically close this window. And then when we go back to our automation, as you can see, it's received the record ID, it's gotten the record, and now it's researching with Perplexity. It usually takes a lot longer, and it's updated the Airtable. Okay, so let's have a look. It's got the record. It basically grabbed it. Perplexity did its research. Where is it? Choices. I have to be in here. Yeah, it did. This is all the research it did. And then it dropped it into Airtable. So if we go to our Airtable, you can see now it's changed to done, the condition. And we have all this research from Airtable, from Perplexity in here. Great. We have a router, which indicates that now we're starting to create pathways for each specific social media platform. Now, this is a base template. And if you don't want to use one platform, like if you're not on that platform, you can basically delete it, which is super easy. All you need to do is select it and then delete it, which I'm not going to do right now. Let's start with LinkedIn. Okay, so you have two choices. One choice is to train your own assistant in Assistants API, like I have done it. So basically, I have the instructions for my assistant, but I also have my style, like my speech patterns, how I create sentences, my tone and voice, everything is set up in this analysis. So if I call on this assistant, it already knows how to write as me. If you don't have an assistant, all you need to do is just add a completion. And I'm just going to very quickly go through here. You just need to create a completion prompt. But basically, and you will need to actually give it a bit more prompting, as in write in this tone of voice or use simple language or something like this. But because I'm using an assistant, I'm saying use the researched information as inspiration, and I'm mapping out my Perplexity my perplexity research and to write a post for LinkedIn. Do not write a title, just the post. Now, the reason I have that is because it keeps writing titles. And I also wanted to use a specific framework. If you have your own framework, you can add your own framework. If you don't want to have a framework, you can delete all that. But the framework is basically present an opinion, recognize a barrier, share a way through, and then I say do not add any formatting to the text because it does, and add emojis sporadically. If you don't use emojis, just say don't use emojis. And basically this is it. We don't have anything else in here. And the next one is I want to get some hashtags. I put that as a separate module because some people use hashtags, some people don't use hashtags. So it's much easier to just delete this module if you're not using hashtags. And this is incredibly easy. Based on this copy, and I'm saying here's my copy, or I can get it from here, write 5 relevant hashtags. That's it. And as I said, if you don't use hashtags, then just delete it. Now, when it comes to images, something I've noticed with my agency clients and my school community members is that they would rather have images of themselves than generic images created with DALL-E or Leonardo or any other platform. So what I've done with this automation is I have created these 3 modules that are right here that will actually will create an image from a trained LoRa. And I'm going to show you how to do it right now. The platform we're going to use is called Replicate. And I'm just going to open an incognito window because I'm already signed into it to show you what it looks like. It's just another platform. What I like about it is that the pricing is per image. You don't have to pay anything per month. And it shows you all the stuff you can do with it. All you need to do is click on sign in. It allows you to sign in with GitHub. And once you're signed in, you will get into your dashboard that looks something like this. If you haven't created anything, it will be empty basically. So what you want to do is come up here and click on Explore. Then scroll down until you get to this section where it says Fine Tune Flux and click on Get Started. It's super easy. The one thing you need to have done before you start training is getting all your images into a zip file. The more images you have, the better trained your LoRa's will be. And of course, you can train multiple. If the first one fails and you don't like the images it creates, you can delete it, or you can just find better images of yourself to upload and train another one. Each training would cost you $2, which is not really that much. So the very first thing is the destination, and you're selecting a model. Now I already have a model that I've trained, but if you haven't trained anything, this is the only option you will have, which is create new model. And you'll give it a name. I'm gonna give it a test name, and I'm going to click on private. I don't want people to look at my stuff, basically. The next thing you need to do is to actually upload your zip file. And all you need to do is grab this zip file and open it. Then you need to add your trigger word. Make sure that your trigger word is generally your name because it's the easiest thing to remember. In my case, I have already created one with my name. So I'm just going to put test as my trigger word. And we don't need to do anything in here. The LoRa rank, I play around. I think that when I did it, I put it around 50 or 60, something like that. You really need to play with all this stuff to see how it works for you. And as I said, it's only going to cost you $2. And with the integer number of training steps, you can go more or less. as I said, you need to play with it. There's no right or wrong thing, because we all have different images. It will take different steps and different lower ranks to be able to create something that looks like us. And then you just click on create training, and this will take a little bit of time. uh, I am going to stop it here because I don't want to go and train something else, but basically it will start extracting, and I'm going to cancel it because I already have my lore. All right, now if I go back to my dashboard, you will see once you have your model, you will see your model here. So this is the second one that I'm not going to use. I'm going to delete it after this video, but here is my personal one. And when I click on it and then click on versions, I can get this trained model ID that I will need to use in the automation. So you're going to click on these three dots here, copy version ID, and paste it somewhere safe. Then you're going to get your API key or set up your API key by clicking on your name here on the arrow and then selecting API tokens. All you need to do is give it a name, create a token, and I have a test one here that I can copy and use it in my make automation. Then we're going to go back to the automation and we're going to continue building the LinkedIn path with the image module. So the first module, so we need 3 modules, as you can see, to create that image. The first one is an HTTP module that will make a request to this URL, api.replicate.com/v1/predictions. The method will be post, and then we're going to set up some headers. So the first one is with the name authorization. Then in the value, we're going to write bearer. Then we're going to leave space, and we are going to grab this API and put it in here. Then we're going to give it a content type, the name, and the value will be application JSON. From there on, we need to set up our body type, which will be raw, and then the content type will be JSON. And then we need to actually create that little JSON code that will send a request to replicate and ask it to create a photo. So basically we'll have the squiggly bracket, then version in bracket, semicolon, and then we're going to give the ID from the model. So I'm going to go back and show you again where to find it. It doesn't matter which one we're using, and we're going to click on versions on the 3 dots, and you're going to get your version ID and come back and put it in here. Then we're going to put that into quotation marks, then comma, then input in quotation marks and semicolon, then another squiggly bracket, and then in another quotation marks, we're going to put the prompt. And this prompt will be whatever you want. My prompt is a lifestyle photo of Monica. So I'm using my trigger word. So whatever your trigger word you've selected when you trained your model, you'll use it here, a lifestyle photo of, and for you it may not be a lifestyle, but that's what I chose. Facing the camera, hair in a ponytail, outdoors. That's all I've put in because I don't want to be way too specific, because the AI, like the automation, is going to use the same prompt over and over and over again. And I want to give my model the freedom to be anywhere in the world in any situation that is lifestyle. Okay, then we're going to put another comma, aspect ratio in quotation marks and semicolon, and we're going to put 1:1. So basically we want a square image. Then we're going to put another comma, output quality in quotation marks, semicolon, 100. Now when it's just a full number, that's called integer, and you don't need to put quotation marks. You're going to put another comma, and then output format in quotation marks, semicolon, and we're going to select PNG because I believe from memory, Replicate's default output, image output is WebP, and we don't want that. And then another two squiggly brackets to finish your JSON, and then we're going to parse the response. What we're going to do next is add a sleep tool because it actually takes a little bit of time for this request to go to Replicate and for Replicate to create this image. And this sleep tool, I found for me, 80 seconds is plenty for my model to for Replicate to use my model to create an image. You have to test it. It might be a little bit less, might be 50 or 60 seconds for you. It might be a little bit more. It really depends. So you have to play with the delay here and see what's working for you. Then we're going to get another HTTP module and make another request. And if you feel lazy, you can just copy. So, oh, sorry. You can just copy this module, copy module, and paste it. And here it is. I'm going to delete it because I don't need it. And just tag it here because a lot of the settings will be the same in this new module. And I'm going to open it. The two things that are changing are the URL. So we're grabbing the URL from this previous module and we're getting the get URL, and the method is get, because with the first module that was a post method, we send a request to Replicate to create the photo. We said, hey, here's my prompt, here's my API key, here's my model ID, can you create a photo? Now with this with this module, this HTTP module, we're going back to Replicate saying, hey, can I please get this image? And that's why we have the get method, and everything else is the same. That's why I said just copy and paste it. The authorization, the content type, and the body type is again raw and JSON, but we don't have any content, and we're parsing this response. So super quick if you copy and paste it. And the last thing we need to do is create a record in our Airtable, and we're going to put it in the LinkedIn table this time, and we're going to use the copy the result where we message the assistant. We are going to grab the image from the URL, which is right here in the output. This is what we need to select. As you can see, exactly the same. This is what we're selecting, and we are mapping out our hashtags. And lastly, we're changing the status to review because we want every post that we have created then for a human to go and check it out and make sure that everything is fine. Like, for example, yes, we're creating lifestyle photos of me, but what if the photo is really bad? So yeah, as I said before, I don't want to leave my AIs completely unsupervised. Okay, moving on. The next path is a Facebook text post. And again, if you're feeling lazy, you can just select this whole row and copy it. So all this will get copied and paste, as you can see here, and you can go and attach it to this second path. I'm going to delete it because I don't want it. And with Facebook, the one module that we're going to delete is the hashtags, and everything else is exactly the same, absolutely the same, which makes it very easy. The next pathway is real scripts. And basically, I'm telling my assistant, I'm telling my assistant to use the research information as inspiration. So this is the information from Perplexity to write a video script for an Instagram reel. And then I say the script is for a talking head. Do not write a title, just the script. Do not add any greetings and start with a hook that will keep the viewer watching. All right, for myself personally, I will put that script in Airtable. Very easy. We're just going to the Instagram table and all we're mapping out is the result from that previous module. Now, if you're doing this for a client and they have to record the reels, you may want to continue this flow with maybe a Slack message where you're going to map out the script, or an email module and send them the script via email. Entirely up to you. As I said, this whole automation is a template that can be customized in any way you want. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create some quotes that we can use in X, or former Twitter. And we're going to use these same quotes to create an image quote in Google Slides. And let's start with the quote. Super easy. I'm creating a completion prompt. I'm using ChatGPT 4o. And all I'm saying is, for my system role, you're an experienced copywriter specializing in writing engaging quotes. And then the second message is for the user. And I say, write 2 engaging quotes based on the results. And I'm again mapping out Perplexity. And I say, do not add quotes or numbers. Return the result as a JSON project. And we've got our JSON project. And then we want to actually parse these quotes, and we've got the pattern here. And basically we want to get these quotes and make them and separate them so we can map them out. From there on, we need another router, because first we want to send the quotes as they are to our content vault. And because if we're using them for Twitter, we're just going to grab the quote, not do anything with it, and post it to Twitter. That's all we're going to do. And this is what we are actually mapping out. And then again, we're putting the status as review. Then the other path is the path that we're going to use these quotes with a caption and Google Slides to create an image quote for Instagram. And the first one is creating the caption. Again, we're getting a completion module with OpenAI. Now, don't forget, you can do all this with Claude. I just choose to use OpenAI. And what I say is, based on this copy, and we're mapping out the copy, write a short Instagram caption. Do not use quotation marks. Add emojis to emphasize the caption. And then we're going to create another hashtags module. And of course, if you're not using hashtags, once again, you can just delete this module. And in here, we're going to say that based on the copy, write 5 relevant hashtags. Very easy. Okay, now the harder part. We are going to create a image quote from a slide. So let me show you just on the end here what you need to get. So we're going to go to Google Slides, or you can type Google Slides, and when it shows and you go to Google Slides, you will do create a slide. So you're going to find the slides and you're going to select create a slide from a template slide. This is what this module here is. And you're going to find your presentation. So actually, before we start that, we actually need to create our presentation. In my case, this is what it looks like. This is an image that I created in Canva, And because I've seen so many people posting these image quotes that look like they've just taken a screenshot of their Twitter feed. So this is what I did and I uploaded. But let's create one from scratch. So we're going to go to my drive. I'm going to click on new and Google Slides. And you're going to give it a name. So give it a test name, for example. And the first thing we want to do is, first we want to remove all these things here because we don't want them. We're going to create our own text block. But what you need to do is change the size of this slide. So we want to make it square because square goes everywhere. And we're going to click on File. We're going to click on Page Setup. And then in here, we're going to select Custom. And we can do the 1080 by 10. Actually, we're going to select pixels, which will be 1080 by 1080. This is the same size that you get from Instagram. Okay, now that we have our square image, we're going to click on Insert and we're going to insert an image from the computer. And I'm just going to pick one. Here you go. Here's an image. It's a little bit smaller, so I'm just going to adjust it. I'm just going to pull it a little bit. And yep, now it's nicely, snugly into my template. All right, the next thing we want to do is we want to add a text box, and we're going to click on these letters here that says text box, and we're just going to draw a text box. You can draw it as bigger or as smaller as you want. And then to make it into a template, we need to put a variable. And you write a variable by typing 2 squiggly brackets. Then you're going to put some text. In my case, I'm going to put a quote because that's what we're actually moving from the automation into Google Slides. And then I'm going to put 2 more squiggly brackets. And you can't read it very well, so you actually have to adjust your font. First thing I want to do is actually make it white so it stands out. Then I might want to make it bigger. So you may have to go backwards and forwards a little bit. So you'll have to test how it looks like from your automation. And then you may have to make the font bigger or smaller. You can also change the font type. And yeah, that's basically it. And the last thing you want to do is right click into the slide here. So on the left hand side, right click into the slide and click on skip slide. And I'm going to show you why we're doing this. Okay, now we're going to go back to our make automation. And now we can actually find our slide, which in my case, it's called quote. So I basically went through all the folders and I found my slides. And you have only one slide, so you're not going to have a lot of choice. Basically, you will select the first slide and then you will select the quote you want to use. And this is it for our first module. The second module is, now that we've created this slide, we actually want to download it so we can transfer it into our Airtable. And this module is called Get a Page Thumbnail. And I'm going to show you again where to find it. It's right here in the very beginning, Get a Page Thumbnail. And basically, it's super easy to set up. We're going to select Enter manually. And we're going to map out, the first one says presentation ID, and you're going to find it right here. The second one says page object ID, which is right here up the top. Very easy to set up. Now that we've got our image quote, we want to send it to Airtable. And sorry, I don't need that. I don't know why it's here. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to grab the caption that we wrote. Then we're going to grab the hashtags. And finally, we are going to get our content URL from down here. As you can see, content URL. And then the last thing we're going to do is again change the status to review. And once we've done all that, what will happen is if we don't delete these slides, you're going to end up with a million slides here, which you don't really want to. You just want to keep it clean and only have your template here, which means that we actually have to delete the slides. And then we're going to add a module that is add delete slides. And basically, we're going to map up the same thing we mapped in download image. We're going to enter manually, and we are going to map out the presentation ID and then the object ID. And this will delete every slide it makes except for this first one, because we told it to skip this slide. As you can see, it doesn't matter how many slides we have and deletes, it will always have this one here, which is super helpful. And this is the end of our Instagram quotes and Twitter quotes. Okay, the next one is an email. And again, if you don't want to use a pathway for your emails, or if you're writing them yourself, all you need to do is select all of the modules and click delete. However, if you want the AI to write your emails as well, you're going to either message an assistant or create a completion. You're going to open it. And what I've done in here is I said, write a 5-paragraph email based on this research. And I mapped out the research from Perplexity. Here you go. And then I said, do not write a subject line, do not add a greeting. The reason I don't want to write the subject line in the same module is because I want to separate them, and I've tried, it's not working with a JSON. All right, then I'm going to have a completion that will actually write my subject line. That's all it's going to do. And I say write a short engaging subject line for this email, and I'm mapping out the result from my email. Do not wrap the subject line in quotation marks because it does. So I want to make sure that it doesn't have any quotation marks. Now, you have a choice here. You can actually not only save it in your Airtable, but you can actually send this email to your autoresponder ready to be sent in a campaign. I have not put this in here because there's so many autoresponders, people using so many different email providers that it's just impossible to have them all, but this is an option. And what we're going to do is basically we're going to put our subject line from here and our result from the email into Airtable. And again, we're putting the status as review. I always have these conditions because, as I said, I don't want my AI to run unsupervised. Okay, the last branch that we have here is to write a blog post. I personally don't have a blog post. I just put this in here because a lot of people in my school community are writing blogs. So I wanted to just give them a pathway that is already done so they don't have to do it. And basically, again, I'm messaging an assistant. I actually create an assistant that is specifically for blogs. As you can see now, if you go in here, you can see all my assistants, and this is my blog writing assistant. And I said, write an 800-word blog post on this topic. Actually, it shouldn't be topic, based on, it will be, sorry, I've made a mistake here, based on this research. And I'm going to map out the research from perplexity. This is it. I'm going to, just like I did with the email, I'm going to create the blog title separate. And again, I'm going to say that I don't want the quotation marks, yes. Write a short, engaging title for this blog post. And I just mapped my blog post. And again, I said do not write the title in quotation marks, right? And then, just for the fun of it, I decided to use Leonardo as an image generator. Again, you can use these same 3 modules anywhere around here where you want to have images and have images with your face on them. I just thought I'm going to do something different for those people who don't want their face plastered everywhere. So I just grabbed the Leonardo module and I said an exciting photo. I'm in AI, so I just prompted it this way. An exciting photo of futuristic AI in the style of Victoria era steampunk. And then I chose a model. FluxDev seems to be the most popular model. And I played with different prompts. It's as I said, I don't write blog posts, so it didn't really matter what it was. It was just for show and tell. And the last thing we're doing is we are mapping out in our blog post Airtable the title, which is here. Yeah, and then the result from and this is actually the blog, and then we're going to map the image from Leonardo, and this is up here, generated images and URL. This is what you need to map out. And this is our last module. Now I'm going to enable all the routes and I will run this whole automation and we're going to have a look at what's coming through. And tomorrow I'm going to show you how to grab all of the posts, all of the content from here and send it to a calendar in Airtable and ready to be auto posted. Because something that a lot of people are forgetting is that if you create content at scale, you cannot auto post it at scale from just a normal Airtable. Okay, now let's run this automation. So I'm going to say run once. We're going to go and choose the next one, which is number 1, harnessing AI in social media marketing. We're going to click on start. It's been accepted. And now it's gonna go through all of the pathways one by one. I'm going to speed up the video a little bit because it's going to take quite a bit of time to go through. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all these records so everything is completely clean. As you can see, everything, here's one. Everything is completely clean. And once the automation is done, we're going to come back and have a look at everything that has been populated. Okay, so the whole automation has been executed. Now let's go and have a look at our result. Okay, the 9th is done. So let's start with LinkedIn. Here's our LinkedIn. We've got all the copy. We've got another lifestyle image. I like how it makes me like super skinny. And we've got the hashtags and we're ready. Facebook, same thing. We have our post. We have another image. See, super cool way to create images of yourself without having photo shoots. Again, we're in review. Instagram, we have the script and we also have the little caption, the hashtags, and here's the image that we created. Now, I will probably need to go back and fix the template a little bit because the font seems to be too big. So this is actually good. So I know where to go and change things. So you may have to go backwards and forwards and change some things based on your tests. And we have the review as well. The quotes are here. The email is here as well. We've got the copy. We've got the subject line, and the same with the blog post. We've got the title. We've got the copy, which is quite a bit, and we've got that funny image. Let's see what came up with. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah. So this is it. It's a big automation. This is part 2. So as I said, part 3 is sending all of these pieces of content into the calendar, plus sending that Instagram reel that we're going to record, or your client is going to record, and put it into Google Drive. Either we're going to put it in Google Drive, or the client is going to put it in Google Drive, and we're going to pull it from there and put it in the calendar. And the last automation will be actually creating the calendar and setting it up to post on specific dates.